Wind Waker is absolutely one of the most divisive titles when it comes to the Zelda mainline 3D series of games, and that is simply because when it came out, there was a lot of backlash around the style of the art direction that they chose for this game, and it simply looked too childish for a lot of the hardcore fans, and that may have caused a bunch of people to miss out on this incredible adventure. And I'm telling you guys today that if you haven't played Wind Waker and you haven't played it on the HD version on the Wii U, we got to talk about why this thing has to come to the Switch, and some mounting evidence that suggests that it will, most likely this year, according to different reporters that are in the gaming industry. So we have to talk about why this Zelda game is so important to the series, and also why it will be coming to the Switch in 2021. What's up, Nation? If it's your first time on the channel, make sure you join Sunbro Nation by subscribing below. Hit the like button on this video if you enjoy it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. Now guys, I'm super pumped to talk about the game that we're talking about today. That's because it is Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, and while every single mainline 3D Zelda does have a special place in my heart, Wind Waker is absolutely one of the ones that I enjoyed the most when it was originally released on the GameCube. And while initially I was not a fan of the art style either, I got over that and got past it and got into the game, and what awaited me on the other side of that was one of the most amazing immersive Zelda experiences that you can ask for. So obviously Zelda has done a ton of growing since that title was released, and there's probably a bunch of fans that did not get to experience this game when it was released in 2001 on the GameCube, because that's quite a bit of time now that has passed by since this game was originally released. Then you obviously had the HD port come to the Wii U, which did not see very good sales numbers at all. It sold roughly about 2 million copies, and that's primarily due to the very limited install base that was on the Wii U. So now what we're talking about today is why I do believe that we will see this game ported to the Switch as an HD standalone title. Granted, we could see it released in a double pack with Twilight Princess, and I'll be making a separate video on Twilight Princess on the channel as well. But knowing Nintendo and their track record, even though these games have been ported to the Wii U already, every single other Wii U port we've seen come to the Switch comes at a full price standalone game, and I don't think we're going to see them do anything different with Twilight Princess and the Wind Waker as a double pack, as much as I would like to see that be the case. Now, to start off, we do have some evidence that actually points towards this being in the works, or potentially being done and just waiting to be announced by Nintendo as part of something like a Zelda 35th Direct. And the first thing we got to read through is a tweet by somebody by the name of Andy Robinson, who is actually a journalist that works for VGC, which is a very credible gaming news website if you guys are not familiar. And he has gone on record stating that in case of fans were disappointed with Skyward Sword HD's unveiling, and that's all they think they would be getting in 2021, he said for sure the Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD will be coming to the Nintendo Switch in 2021. And he has had a very great track record at predicting different things. He reported on Mario's 35th collection, which a lot of people still did not think we would actually see come to fruition, and we did see that happen, and he called it out long before Nintendo actually announced it. So again, this is one of those things where we don't have the announcement yet, but I do believe that there's enough evidence pointing to these titles coming to the Switch in 2021, and I think it only makes sense for Nintendo to do it. Now, why do they need to move this game to the Switch? Well, it's simply one of the best open world Zelda experiences that you can ask for. So it does follow the Ocarina of Time timeline where Link is no longer in the world. I won't try to do any spoilers in case you guys haven't played it, but basically there's a timeline split at the end of Ocarina of Time that creates 3 different timelines. Wind Waker is hundreds of years after one of those timelines, where Hyrule is completely flooded and it's underwater, and everything that is left are all broken up in islands. So it obviously creates for a brand new adventure as far as how you explore the land, and it's something that we haven't seen in any other Zelda game since. It's truly unique in how you go to different dungeons and islands and how you connect with the characters. It really has a very robust adventure system, and whenever it comes to combat controls, it's still amongst my favorite in any Zelda game, as they have like the ability to, basically they call it a parry, but when an enemy is going to hit you, you can essentially roll around them or flip on top and dodge their attack, and that's something that we've kind of seen touched on in future Zeldas, but I think it's done best in Wind Waker. And to go along with that excellent combat, specifically in Wind Waker HD, they actually added in a thing called Hero Mode, which you may be familiar familiar with from other Zelda titles that they have since added that in. But basically, this allows the enemies to output double damage from what they typically would, and it also takes away the ability to find hearts in the overworld, so you cannot go around smashing pots and cutting grass to replenish your health. You actually have to have the items ahead of time, whether that be a fairy in a bottle or potions or things like that. And when I tell you guys, this game is almost second to none in the difficulty department. When you put it on hero mode, it is really quite a challenge, and it's something that they even have like a Cave of Ordeal style section of the game, kind of like from Twilight Princess, if you guys have played through that, where you actually, or Trial of the Sword, even in Breath of the Wild, where you actually have to traverse 50 plus levels of enemies, and if you die once, it is back to the beginning of the trial, which is just a very intense thing to do, especially if you're going to try to do it on hero mode. So it is not for the faint of heart, and it's really cool to see, you know, that kind of experience be available in this Zelda title. And I'm sure that if we do get it ported to the Switch, that we would see hero mode come along with it. And I think it's something that, like, hardcore long-time Zelda fans that really want to test their skills, it's really cool that we have that option to turn that on and actually make the game significantly harder and really kind of get more of a reward out of completing it, especially when it comes to those big tasks like the 50 plus floors that they have to go through. So that's one to not miss out on, you know, if you haven't played through Wind Waker HD yet. And while it does have cartoony displays and different things that maybe turn off certain fans, it's also one of the most expressive Zelda games, in the sense of when certain things happen in the story, you really see the emotion on Link's face. It's amazing the way that they were able to convey that, you know, through this art style, but they really did do a great job when it comes to the storytelling and the overall theme of this game. And guys, when I tell you it is one of the most epic encounters with Ganon ever, I mean, the way that the game wraps up at the end, and that you have, you know, Princess Zelda and the King of Hyrule in the main storyline of this game, there's almost no more epic closing to any Zelda game in my book, as far as I'm concerned. And so it is one that needs to see another day in the light on a great console, and one that performed very well, like the Nintendo Switch, with almost 80 million units sold. So we gotta see this come over, and I think that Nintendo is already planning this. In fact, if it wasn't for the pandemic, maybe we would already see this released, or Nintendo just knows that the 35th anniversary is when they want to announce this, and they do go ahead and deliver that. Because again, guys, if you haven't played it, it is one of the most immersive Zelda experiences from start to finish, and it's amongst the top. I mean, you even have roughly about 5 different dungeons that you go through. There was some fetch quest type stuff at the end that most fans were not a fan of. We did see them actually basically take out certain things in the HD version to not make it so grindy towards the end of the game. And then you also got like an updated wind blowing mechanic, so you didn't have to spend so much time redirecting the wind in which way it was supposed to go. There was a number of different things on the original game that kind of slowed down the experience a little bit, and they've already touched up all that stuff. Now, they may add in new features here or there on the Switch HD version, but regardless, I think we absolutely do see this game come to the Nintendo Switch in 2021, because Nintendo knows that they have a whole untapped market when it comes to Wind Waker HD. But I would love to know from you guys if you think we will see this released like I am predicting in the year of 2021. Will you plan on picking up this game if it is a standalone $60 title, or will you be upset by that price point and you'll only pick it up if it's actually in a double pack with something like a Twilight Princess? So please leave me all of that information in the comments down below, and then I will be creating a community poll as well. So I'd love to get a back and forth conversation started with you guys around what kind of titles you think we will see announced, and how you think specifically we will see Wind Waker announced, if we see it at all. So make sure you go over to the community tab in the channel before you leave and vote in that poll as well. Thanks so much for watching the video today, everyone. I do truly appreciate you all sticking around until the end. I do at this point in the video want to invite you all one more time to join Sunbro Nation if you haven't done so already. Do so by subscribing below, hit the like button on your way out on this video if you enjoyed it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. Guys, that's going to do it for me. I hope you all have a great day. Sunbro Nation, out.